To those of you watching this video and participating in this event, I thank you. I thank you for believing in stories. Stories, in my opinion, are the most valuable and powerful thing on the planet. I like to say that everything is a story, one that you've been made to believe or chosen to believe. And knowing that distinction is powerful. Us being here today is saying that we are choosing to believe different stories than those put on us. There's a line from an African tribal line. They say, every story will glorify the hunter until the lion learns to write. We are lions writing. As a young kid in Queens growing up in a not so wonderful neighborhood, I was told what my story would be. My story was put on me. It was put on me by media and culture and my teachers, and I was capable of only a handful of things. Except by telling my own story, I changed the story. I took back my existence. I took back what I was capable of. And that's what we're doing here. We're telling different stories. We're taking back our stories. We're becoming champions of our own narratives. We're expanding our imaginations and opening new worlds. James Baldwin says that the great plight of man is man's inability to imagine another man, to imagine his existence, how he feels, how he walks through the world. And that's what we're doing here. We're telling stories that expand other people's imaginations about how someone else might live or walk through the world, or how they might struggle or exist in a different world than someone with a certain amount of privileges. That's what we're doing here. We're telling stories that expand people's imagination so that they can conceive of more and feel more. That's what stories do. They break hearts and open minds and make new things possible. And so for doing that, for sharing these stories, I thank you. I thank you for expanding our imaginations, for letting us walk in someone else's shoes, if only for a minute or 2 minutes or a second. It is powerful and it is needed. Thank you. My name's Christopher Rivas, and I'm out.
Good evening and welcome to the second annual Youthink Film Festival. My name is Elizabeth Bain and I will be your host and MC for the evening. And tonight we're going to be celebrating and sharing some of the films that we have had our students produce this fall semester through the Youthink Filmmaking Fellowship. These films are the culmination of weeks of work from our students from Hollywood High School, USC Arts Magnet High School. And the students picked some of the most burning topics of the day, ranging from climate change to immigration to racial politics and identity. And the focus of the fellowship is to help the students take the issues that they're passionate and interested in and turn them into a compelling documentary film that tells a story about an issue at the local level. And we were fortunate enough to have a panel of esteemed judges take a look at all of the films and judge them by categories, including best cinematography, best directing, best editing, and I believe, what's the last category? There was one more category, and I think I best storytelling. And the awards are going to be given to the students, and one of the prizes includes a year-long subscription to Adobe Premiere Pro. And what we're going to do now is we're going to run through some of the films, and we're also going to announce the winners. But first, we're going to have a word from our Senior Programming Director at Youthink, Charmain Johnson.
Hi, my name is Charmain Johnson, Senior Director of Programming for Youthink, and on behalf of Youthink, the Caton Children's Museum, and Sharewell, our parent organization, thank you for joining this afternoon as we celebrate some very passionate young student artists. Youthink has a 30-year history of working with students in their schools and their communities to ignite activism through creative arts. In 2020, we really wanted to continue that work, so we turned to Zoom, like so many others. But we also began building partnership with LAUSD's career technical education programs. And in fall of 2020, we were able to join 3 video production classes through CTE's Arts, Media, and Entertainment pathway at both Hollywood High and USC Media Arts and Engineering Magnet. We were led by our event host this evening, independent filmmaker and teaching artist, Elizabeth Gray Bain, and we set out to support the technical education in the classroom with the art of visual storytelling through an activist lens, and I think we did just that. And we have so many of you watching this afternoon to thank for this opportunity to do this work. Our sponsors, Allen Family Foundation, California Arts Council, Clancy Collins White and Dean White, Dwight Stewart Youth Fund, Hollywood Foreign Press Association, Jennifer Simkowitz, Jim Brooks and the Dorothy and Diane Brooks Foundation, Kevin and Chelsea Washington and the Dennis and Phyllis Washington Foundation, the JIB Fund, Larry Braun, Linda Gock-Ray, the Lon V. Smith Foundation, Los Angeles County of Arts and Culture, Los Angeles Department of Arts and Culture, the DCA, Louis L. Borg Foundation, Teach Amanda Fish Foundation, and Vincent and Victoria Smith, the Mark Hughes Foundation, and the Rosalind and Arthur Gilbert Foundation. Thank you all so much. To our partners, the LAUSD Office of Career Technical Education, the specialists there, Michael Borum, Dr. Karen Sese, Andrew Pack, thank you all so much for being a part of this adventure with us. Of course, our video production teachers in the classroom, thank you for inviting us into your classroom and allowing us to be partners with you. Matthew Waney and Charmain Johnson, we really greatly appreciate it. This couldn't have been done without you, obviously. Our lesson planning and teaching artist pioneer, Elizabeth Gregor Bain, again, thank you so much. And also our awesome Youthink coordinator, Shirley Ramirez, we couldn't have done any of this without all of you. It is because of you that 16 students were able to complete and submit 11 of the 33 films that were made this semester for final consideration. They submitted 11 of the 33 for final consideration by our esteemed judges, our esteemed panel of judges. Our panel of judges is comprised of Sharewell board members, supporters and professionals in media and entertainment industry. We have the creator of The Simpsons with us as on our judges panel. We had a CNN journalist on our judges panel. Executives from Netflix, Lionsgate, NBC Universal all joined us as well, and not to mention award-winning producers, directors, cinematographers, and editors. We're all so grateful to all of you guys for joining us and lending your expertise to our festival. This is a really strong group of industry professionals committed to supporting the next generation of conscious creatives. So thank you so much. Full list of our judges will be up on our website at youthink.org. Thank you again to everyone who made this possible. And now I want you to just take a few minutes to listen to a friend of mine, Charmain Johnson, a video production teacher at Hollywood High. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Charmain Johnson. I teach video production over at Hollywood High, and I've been so fortunate to have Youthink be a part of that this semester. They did a great job leading our students in creating a documentary. It was great. It was a wonderful experience. I really enjoyed the entire staff, and I just really enjoyed working with them, and I kind of wish I could keep working with them. But Youthink is great, and I just want to thank you for helping these kids believe in themselves and just helping them to be better filmmakers and just, giving them that confidence. So thank you, Youthink, so much. You have done a lot for our students this semester.
Hi, thank you so much to Jami Johnson and Charmain Johnson for giving us their messages about the film festival and about Youthink overall as a program. I've had the privilege of teaching Youthink for 2 years straight. We started actually in the spring of 2020, shortly before the outbreak. And within 3 weeks of class, the shutdown happened, and we had a big decision to make about whether or not we were going to continue. And we decided to give it a shot, and it went so well that we decided to bring it back this fall. And we went from teaching one class at Theodore Roosevelt High School in the spring to teaching 3 classes this fall, 2 at Hollywood High School and 1 at USC Arts Magnet High School. And it's been a really rewarding experience as a teacher to work with the students to bring their ideas to life. It's been a challenge to do it remotely, but the students really persevered this year, really went through the whole process And I'm really proud of everyone who was able to finish their film and submit it to the festival. And so it's really rewarding to be able to celebrate with them, celebrate with you who are tuning in, just to really acknowledge the work that they put in. So the idea behind the fellowship is that they take a project assignment, either something that they're passionate about or that they've been assigned by their teacher, and instead of just writing the typical student paper report, they actually make a film about it. And we really wanted to challenge them to use the three-act structure, all the key elements of storytelling, a main character with a goal, to really make their stories as compelling as possible. Because the idea behind the social impact issue is you don't want to just preach to the choir. You want to really communicate why you're passionate about an issue so you can get more people on board with your message. And I think the students were able to accomplish that in this program, and I'm really excited to present the top films this year. So what we focused on are a lot of different elements, not just story, but also cinematography, because as you all know, film is a visual medium and a picture is worth 1,000 words. And it was challenged because during the outbreak, a lot of times it was hard to film in person. And the students went to some creative measures to make sure that they had all the video and photo that they needed to illustrate their stories. And we're gonna see the top nominees right now. The three films that we're gonna be watching are The Effects of Air Pollution on Public Health by Jason Aquino, The Little Things by Cindy Ruiz Catalan, and Real Pigmentation by Felicia Williams, Lucas Lewis, and George Trujillo.
Air pollution is a major problem that has serious toxicological impact on human health and the environment. The sources of pollution vary from emissions from cars and industrial activities such as commercial vehicles and oil refineries. Some of the main areas that suffer from air pollution are commercial areas such as Wilmington and Terminal Island. Vehicle pollution is one of the major causes of air pollution. Cars and trucks emit harmful pollutants that contribute 1/5 of the United States' total global warming pollution. Exposure to air pollution can affect everyone's health. When we breathe, pollution enters our lungs and can also enter our bloodstreams. It may also cause or worsen many diseases involving the lungs and breathing, leading to hospitalizations, cancer, or even premature death. We are all affected by the harmful pollutants that are released into the air every day. This is something that concerns me because it is a topic that often many people ignore and don't pay attention to. My main concern are my family members that fall into the sensitive category that are mostly affected by air pollution. My goal is to spread awareness on reducing air pollution before it starts to take a bigger toll on public health and the environment. To do this, I printed several flyers and put them up around my neighborhood. Spreading awareness and informing people is certainly a difficult task that I didn't imagine would be so hard. To begin, the flyers would almost always end up on the floor, and when you tell others about the situation, they will often say that it is something that someone else has to solve and their contributions won't make much of a difference. I came into conclusion that it is more effective to spread the word with friends and families and for them to do the same. Until people start to consider their contributions to the problem, only then will they start to change their habits and reduce harmful pollutants.
The little things. I like to go out and roam the streets. They bring me joy and bring me peace. As a young kid, I felt lucky to live in this world that's beautiful and also unique. But while going out and looking in my neighborhood, I easily see all the little things that grow and grow. While more time passes, the more that they spread. They expand and expand due to many people who don't care. The world is our oyster, so let us not overcrowd it with trash, but treat it with kindness, since there's only one world that we will ever have. And although trash seems like something so little, it's something that expands and that can be so bad. With all this trash that affects my life, which will eventually affect my future, as well as my living environment and my school life, also my health, as well as yours. It can affect my family and many others too. But something that you might deem important is that it can affect yours too. With all this trash that there is out there, this trash that is poisoning the world little by little, this trash that only I see, this trash that isn't out on the streets that are well known, but the trash that is hidden beneath all of those attractions, the trash that shows how we really live. So while their view is filled with colors, mine is in black and white, slowly being covered, little by little. The trash will fill my view, turning darker until I see the light, this light that are all the people who help this world. Instead of being the darkness that fills up the world with trash, choose to be the light. Choose to be different. Choose to help out. If not for you, nor for me, let it be for your future, your generations' well-being, and for their environment, and for their health. So, if you ever see trash on the floor, please pick it up.
Hello, my name is Lucas Lewis, and I'm 16 years old. The environment I grew up in is a small neighborhood. It's very quiet. People treat me nice and kind, and I'm shy sometimes. Who I haven't met, they treat me with respect and gratitude, and I feel grateful that they treat me like that, because everyone should be treated equally. And like, for the people who treat me a certain way, sometimes it's just sad to see that people are like this. Like, if they treat me bad, oh, you know, you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do that. I don't know, but like, it's not right. I don't think it's right.
Anxiety is like fearing for my life that anything could happen, especially with the police, especially what happened this year with all the protests after George Floyd's death. And the first experience was systemic racism. My bad. Was when I was coming back from Target, and then dealt with the police. They stopped me and my family, and I was scared because I didn't know what could happen, especially if it was something so little. After experiencing systemic racism a few years back, I felt scared and afraid because I didn't know what was gonna happen. Like, have you guys been in a situation where it was unpredictable and you didn't know what was gonna happen? Because that's how I felt. And I was scared, I was shaking. My heart was beating so fast because I didn't know what was gonna happen. And now am I supposed to feel afraid that the police could pull over and suspect me of doing any crime when I'm just calm and doing my own thing? Like, am I supposed to feel that way for my whole entire life? Not really. Don't want to feel like that. When I hear the word systemic racism, I think that it is racism that is institutionalized in different systems of our everyday lives. For example, we got education, business practices, different policies, institutions, and more. It was fair to feel those emotions, especially like fearing for your life, because no one should fear for their life, especially if you're colored or if you're different gender or different sexuality. It's not fair. And we have to all be equal. The changes that I would like to see have already happened. Like, we've had the protests in the summer, we've had people signing petitions, we've had people sharing information to each other on social media. Like, those are all good things to see. The thing I really wanted to see is the news, like, sharing all this new information that can help out, reach to other people, like, who want to really make a change for the future. Like, it's been so long since we've had really news about the Black Lives Matter, since like June or July. It's been a long time.
Excellent work, Jason, Cindy, Lucas, and his team, Felicia and George Trujillo. Those films came out fantastic. And I'm so excited to announce the winner out of those 3 nominees. Drum roll, please. The winner for Best Cinematography for the Youthink Film Festival in 2020 was Cindy Ruiz Catalan for The Little Things. Cindy did some excellent work with this project. I remember being very excited the first week when she said she was interested in using stop motion video for her project. We were very excited for her, and I'm so glad to see that she followed through with her vision and was able to incorporate a different medium into her film. Excellent job, Cindy. You did fantastic, and we're very proud of you. Okay, so the next category is editing. Editing is one of the most challenging parts of filmmaking. It's the part that is often considered invisible, but there's so much work that goes into weaving the audio, the interviews, the video footage to make something feel really seamless. And the students worked really hard on that. That's what we spent the last third of the class doing. And we have 3 nominees for Best Editing out of the fellowship for 2020. And those students are Jasmine Hernandez and Alex Mendez, who worked together on a group for Being an Asian American. Andrea Altamirano, whose film is titled This Is Us Natives. And finally, Andrea Altamirano. Oh, there's only 2 nominees for this particular category. All right, so let's take a look at their films and see who's the winner.
It's hard for all of us during this worldwide pandemic. However, Asian Americans have dealt with serious violence and discrimination during these times. Due to the origins of where the pandemic started, Asian Americans have been avoided and hated on the most. Just in the US, Asians around the world have reported discrimination linked to coronavirus.
Jonathan Mock is a student from Singapore studying in London. He told the BBC he was walking down the street last week when 4 people attacked him.
It's such a serious problem that has plagued us for a very long time.
There's also been apparent attacks in New York City, posted on social media.
I want him under me. Tell him to move.
Today, as the US struggles to combat a global pandemic that has taken the lives of more than 120,000 Americans and put millions out of work, President Donald Trump, who has referred to COVID-19 as the Chinese virus and more recently the Kung Flu, has helped normalize anti-Asian xenophobia, stoking public hysteria and racist attacks. And now, as in the past, it's not just Chinese Americans receiving the hatred. Racist aggressors don't distinguish between different ethnic groups. Anyone who is Asian or perceived to be Asian at all can be a victim. Even wearing a mask, an act associated with Asians before it was recommended in the US, could be enough to provoke an attack. Due to the crisis we are in today, there seems to be a lot of xenophobic violence and discrimination against people of Asian descent. They have been targets ever since this pandemic grew. Asians have been taunted, punched in the face, and accused of spreading coronavirus. These people have shared their experiences with us and made us realize the numerous examples of ethnic minorities being targeted during these times. Asian Americans are one of the many minority groups to deal with these stereotypes. As soon as an emergency hits, there is always someone to blame. It's one of the hardships they have to go through in life, and it's not only them. It's everyone who is seen as different.
Native American culture, there's no one story. Like you said, there are many different tribes. A lot of people don't realize it, but just in the United States, there's over 250 different tribes. Hi, my name is Michael Folkert. I'm one of the creators of Native American World, the retail store we have here. It's mostly Native American art from different native cultures: Navajo, Hopi, Zuni, Cherokee, Apache, Sioux, Inca, and various other Native American cultures. We started the business in 1990, and we're proud to serve. I'm a Cherokee descent. My grandfather's mother was full-blooded Cherokee. All my mother's side of the family has that Cherokee descent, and a lot of members of my family recognize their heritage, but not as many of them are into the curiosity and love in their heart for it like I have. The art of the native culture brings spiritual significance into my life. I use tobacco to bless. I use the medicine wheels, the dream catchers, and a lot of the clothing I wear has native designs on it, like Kokopelli. He's the messenger of love. I've always known I was part native. I didn't have as much interest in it when I was younger because I was born in Missouri. I was away from the Oklahoma clan of my family. But as I started getting older, I found more interest in it, and I started studying and learning as much as I could about the culture. And I actually obtained my Cherokee identification. It's an identification card just like a driver's license. It's a legal form of ID. A lot of people, if you showed it to them in a liquor store, they might go, hey man, that's not good enough, but it should be. Legally, you could use that for an ID for any purpose. Yeah, well, Native American culture, there's no one story. Like you said, there are many different tribes. A lot of people don't realize it, but just in the United States, there's over 250 different tribes of native peoples. And a lot of those tribes have their own language, their own beliefs, their own spiritual significance that they follow. And you'd have to go tribe to tribe to find out the story. Generally, all of them use Mother Earth and the things that we live with in our lives. So like a wolf would represent family and unity. The eagle is the closest to the Great Spirit. It represents vision. He can see from way high up in the sky. He can see a little rodent that he wants to have for dinner and swoop down in on it. The Native American cultures have been pushed down since the European population came over looking for mainly gold. It caused a lot of friction and a lot of prejudice. And so the Native Americans have had to deal with that for over 500 years, and it's stayed with them. Even today, now that we're a modern society, you know, they have that hurt in their heart because of what's happened to their ancestors. And a lot of them have got over it, and they're just regular, loving people, and a lot of them still have a lot of anger left inside them. A lot of people come into the store and they say, "You're not Native American, what are you doing working here?" And I'm like, "Well, I am Native American descent," and I show them my card. It's really sad that their vision of them is through movies and TV, like old films and what have you. But a lot of people come into the store and they're like, "We're from Germany, we want to see a Native American reservation, we want to see the land, where can we go to see it?" And I'm like, "Well, you're going to go to a Native American reservation, you're going to find a neighborhood with houses just like the ones we live in. You know, they don't live in teepees anymore." So, you know, people get confused about that. So it's good to be able to educate people and let them know. I hope that someday, when I get a little bit older, somebody will take this store over. They'll want to buy it from me or make a deal where they can keep it going. And the store will still have life even after I'm too old to continue operating it.
Excellent job, Jasmine and Alex and Andrea, on your films and for making it to the nomination category for Best Editing. These were fantastic films. Unfortunately, there can only be one winner. And the drum roll winner for this 2020 Youthink Film Festival Fellowship Best Editing is Being an Asian American by Jasmine Hernandez and Alex Mendez. Congratulations. This group had to work together to not only produce and edit a film, but also find footage because they couldn't go to these locations in person. They did an amazing job of working as a team to pull the footage from the news, to find B-roll, to find relevant images, and then weave them into a narrative. That's one of the most challenging things to do, is to take footage that's not your own and make it all feel like it fits together in a cohesive narrative. And this team did a great job with that. Again, congratulations, Jasmine and Alex, on a job well done. Best editing, Being an Asian American. All right, so the next category is directing. Now, this is something that was a challenge also because we're working remotely with the students. And while some students were working alone, there are others who had to work in a team. And figuring out how to direct virtually was just as challenging as teaching filmmaking virtually. And I think these students who were nominated under Best Directing did a fabulous job, and I'm really proud of them. The students right now that we have are Julissa Castillo for Plastic Beaches, Cassandra Morataya for Platform of Social Media, and Mohammed Amin for The Pursuit of Affordability. Let's take a look at their films.
Hi, my name is Julissa Castillo. I am 15 years old and I am a sophomore in high school. My family and I love to go to the beach. We would go almost every single weekend, either just to hang out or just go for a simple run. But obviously, due to COVID, we haven't been able to go as often. But based on the times that we have gone, we haven't been really able to enjoy the experience. This is all due to the plastic and pollution that we find along the shore. It really distracts you from enjoying the full experience. You have to watch out for plastic, sometimes even glass, and there's also parts of the beach where you walk up and the water's really dark and murky and it smells really bad. It makes you just want to go back and leave.
Plastic pollution has gotten out of hand. Did you know only around 9% of plastic has been recycled, 12% has been burned, and 79% has ended up in landfills or in the environment? This is not a good percentage, considering that we produce over 30 million tons of plastic per year and having 8 million of those tons dumped into our oceans yearly.
Due to COVID, our situation has worsened. The amount of plastic waste from masks, gloves, and many other packaging material has been found in the ocean.
The plastic that ends up in our ocean hurts and even traps other animals. It has even been estimated that over 100 marine animals are killed each year due to plastic waste.
Not only this, after years and years of plastic being released into the ocean, they begin to form into microplastic particles, which have been found many times in seafood, salt, honey, and our air. Plastic contains and releases toxic components, which can make us develop serious health issues, such as cancer and other cardiovascular diseases. But how do we prevent all this? It's honestly quite simple. Educate yourself and inform others about this rising issue. Another thing you could do is reduce your plastic waste by avoiding single-use plastics, like drinking straws or a plastic bag. You could also try to avoid buying products with plastic packaging. For example, instead of using a plastic water bottle, use a reusable one. Another important thing you could do is recycle. Recycling keeps plastic out of the ocean and beaches, causing beaches to be cleaner and more enjoyable. Also, you can participate in beach cleanups. You can join organizations that help clean beaches as a community, or you could do it alone or with your family members. Either way, you will be helping the environment and others. This topic is important to me because I think the beach is a fun place to spend time with your family and relax, but I personally feel that plastic pollution affects your experience greatly. Also, I believe if we all work together and do our part, we can achieve a healthier life and ecosystem.
Social media can be described and known as entertaining, fun, informative, and resourceful, but it can also be known as toxic. We place social media on such a high platform to our daily lives.
I think social media does train me mentally because spending a plentiful amount of hours sitting in one spot or laying in one spot, your mind isn't really doing all the work that it should be doing or it can be doing, so it's just sitting there and you just get tired.
As well as staring at a screen, which some people might say it's white, but it's actually a blue light, and that harms and deteriorates my eyesight as well as my brain. And mentally, I think it's more of just looking in one place, like not moving around. I think that just deteriorates how I would think later on in the future, or how I would focus on school. Like I wouldn't be able to focus unless I was looking at something else, or like listening to songs on TikTok, or someone having a turtle bite a dog. Something like that. On social media, as of today, I've spent 3 hours and 38 minutes, and most of that was on TikTok, so I'm kind of worried about myself. But
Generation Z, my generation, we are mostly all on TikTok and Instagram, but the most it's TikTok because everyone's just on there and there's so many videos and so many different subjects that you can just watch and just keep scrolling and scrolling.
I'm a part of Gen Z, so I didn't really grow up with a phone, but I received my first phone, my first like kind of sense of technology in the 5th grade. Not only because I wanted games, I didn't really want games, I was okay with like not having a phone, but my parents decided that I needed one just because they worked really long hours, and it was me who had to take care of my younger sister. And they didn't want to give her a phone just because they know like she might lose it or break it. So I was the one that had to basically be in charge and like take care of both of us. And I had the phone to call for any emergencies. And I think from there, I was rarely on it. I would never really use it except only to call my mom or my dad. But when new phones started coming out, I was like, whoa. Because these other phones, they seemed really cooler and everyone had them, and I was like, I might as well try to get one. And then I started off with the BlackBerry, and then from there I went on to the iPhone 4, which is But sometimes it takes a toll on their perception of themselves physically. Kids and even teens today get backlash for the way they look because they just don't look beautiful. Having the idea that you would never be considered beautiful to society breaks you,
and tears your confidence down as a whole. It makes them feel anxious, insecure, sad, and just mentally exhausted. There have been many cases in which young teens and teens themselves have been through enough and didn't want to go through it more. For late teens, the cases have increased at least 70% in self-harm and suicide. For younger teens, it has increased in 15% since 2011.
What? What?
My name is Muhammad Amin and I live in Los Angeles, California. I am 15 years old and I'm currently in 10th grade and I really want to get a new house. I used to live in a small apartment with my family years ago, but once my grandparents moved to the US, we decided that the tiny apartment space was a problem and that we needed to buy a house, which at that time the prices were still really high for us. That's when we ended up in my current house. Yet this is still a problem because there are only 2 bedrooms in this house for a family of 6. What I really want is more space in my house and more room to move around in because it's very cramped and I don't even have room for myself as I share one with my sister, so it takes a toll mentally. Recently, my family have been trying to get a new house because we've decided that we need more room to move around in and it's become very difficult. When we think we found a house, we look at the price and we see prices around $800K, which is too much to afford. And with selling our current house, it makes the process even longer.
My name is Mohammed Amin. I live in Los Angeles, California. It's corner of southwest side. Oh, I have actually a lot of experience in Los Angeles because of when I came here from California in 2006. It was really it's not high price, but actually its living cost was really too much because our income was really is not good because rent price is really high. It was like $1,000 in rent, but our income like $1,800 or $2,000. But after income and then pay the rent, this really cost really high because we cannot afford buy the houses. But my wife and we are working together to get better life, to buying houses. But we are looking really so many houses in Los Angeles. But when I look at so many houses, the house was really expensive. Some are 2-bedroom houses like $500,000 and more than $400,000. I can't afford it. I had one of my friends. She was telling me to go buy the low-income houses. Actually, low-income houses, there's a lot of house in there, but it's not permitted. But city has to be law. You have to be, when you buy the houses, there's the requirement to when you buy the house, low-income house, it has the permit and everything. We have looking so many houses, but actually we didn't get the houses.
The house is very big. They want to sell this house right now for sale. Actually, when you have your own house, you can feel it. This is your own. So you need to be organized. You need to be clean. I know. To look nice. At least people can see. Oh, this is a really nice house. Really nice area. People want to buy a lot, but the price is really high because of. When you buy a house, this house is expensive, but buyer is higher. So that's why who want to sell this house says going up. It's really cannot afford the people buy for the house. If you go from LA to at least 100 miles and away, so we can buy a house, nice house, because there is a new city, new development. Look, this they want to do this house. This now they want to sell it, but I don't think so. There's not more than this is more than $1 million house.
Even with moving so far to get these new houses, I still wouldn't be happy with that because in the Los Angeles area where I live, everything I have is here, such as my friends, family, school, and other important things to my life. I wouldn't want to leave just for the sake of house pricing.
Because accommodation problem in Los Angeles very crisis in still right now. There are really crisis right now. Even my experience is house. We are still not happy, but we try to be happy ourselves.
With all the remodeling of houses and the market for it today, it needs to be addressed because it makes the market impossible. Housing should be affordable for everyone, no matter what social level you are in. My family and I still haven't found the right house for us, but we're not giving up the search. Somewhere out there in Los Angeles could be the right house for us, one that we could afford and live happily in.
I want to start by saying great work, Julissa, Cassandra, and Muhammad. These were excellent projects. If it were up to me, everyone would be a winner because I taught all of you, and I think you did fantastic jobs because I saw it come from beginning to end. But our esteemed judges have decided that there's going to be one winner, and that is Plastic Beaches by Julissa Castillo. Congratulations, Julissa. Wonderful job. Julissa did a great job when she told us about her interest in doing something about the beaches. She reminded us of her memories as a child going to the beach with her parents. And those family outings were some of her most treasured memories. And she said that as she got older, she would notice that the beach started changing, that people weren't taking as good care of it as they used to. And that was an issue of concern for her. And so she set about, and we encouraged her to find a way to take that concern and turn it into a film. And she did a fantastic job. She got great footage that she shot some original footage and also some stock footage. And she did an excellent job really weaving it together to explain her story and her perspective. So congratulations again, Jalissa. Wonderful job. And congratulations for winning Best Editing Directing. So next up, we have the final category, and that is storytelling. I was really passionate about making sure the students understood the difference between a story and just informing people. And we really worked with them to make sure that they found a really full arc to tell their stories in, so that they weren't just preaching to the choir, they weren't just saying this issue is important, but they're explaining why they felt it was important and what the impact was, and having resolution to their films that felt satisfying to the audience. And the students who we felt did the best job are our following nominees: Alexandra Cordana Amaya for Plastic Takeover, Maria Carrascayo and Ashley Kobegahug for Latinx in the Army, and Angel Maria Vasquez for The Ever-Changing Perspective. We're going to take a look at their films now.
Hi, my name is Alexandra Cardona. I am a senior at LAUSD Performing Arts School. When there's an opportunity to talk about any social issue, my mind immediately thinks about plastic waste and or plastic pollution. I try to educate others on the serious effect plastic has on us, the environment, and wildlife.
My name is Valerie Contreras. I am 17 years old and I am in 12th grade.
Hi, my name is R. Chung. I am 17 years old and I am in 12th grade.
I do recycle my plastic waste. I think it is important because it can be used in other things such as traffic cones or shampoo bottles rather than it end up in landfill.
My family and I do recycle. We usually put like everything in a bag, and then every like 1 to 2 months we will go take it out. I do believe it is a big problem in our environment because there are many animals going extinct because of our plastic waste.
Well, right now with the pandemic going on, I don't go out at all actually. But when I used to go out, I did see a lot of plastic on the ground. When I see the plastic on the ground when I go out, it makes me feel sad because I know it's going to affect our environment in a negative way.
I do go outside my house into the front yard, and usually we try to pick up our plastic that's on the ground or like that's on the street. Like we try to clean it up as much as possible because my family is very like strict when it comes to that. It does make me feel a little upset because I feel like everyone should take part into like throwing away their trash into a trash can and not leaving it on the streets.
In 5 years, I do not think plastic fill is going to be taken care of. I don't think so because I know that there are a lot of clubs that help the environment. They pick up trash and everything, and there's still not much of a difference. There is a difference.
In 5 years, I do not believe plastic pollution will be taken care of because, I mean, there are still people who do throw away their trash in the streets, which, you know, I feel like if everyone can just take their own part into throwing away their trash into a trash can, it would actually help a lot. Especially their like plastic waste, because there is a lot of water bottles that are on the streets.
I do have tips on decreasing the amount of plastic we use. You can buy a metal water bottle instead of plastic ones and just wash it and keep reusing it. You can buy metal straws instead of plastic straws because I know that the straws kill animals as well.
A tip on decreasing plastic pollution, I do believe that we do not need plastic bags when it comes to grocery shopping. I do believe we could take our own bags and, you know, put them inside there so it could like reduce a lot of, you know, plastic bags. I do believe that's one big thing that we could definitely like get rid of.
My personal thoughts about plastic waste and pollution are that it's really sad. I feel like we can make an impact if a lot of us start changing our daily routines. For example, stop buying plastic water bottles. We can buy the water bottles that are reusable.
I think we can definitely decrease plastic waste if we all just take our part into it, but not like if only one person does it out of our whole like population. It's not really gonna work.
When I see big amounts of plastic in the streets, I honestly get mad because it's not that hard to throw away a piece of trash. And people should start doing that so that there isn't a problem of pollution and everything.
My reaction is I am very shocked because at this point into our generation, I do believe it's very important for us to realize how big of a problem plastic waste is. And I feel like we do have like we're capable of doing the most simple things.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Valeria Carrasco. I'm 20 years old. I was raised in Los Angeles, California. I've been in the Army for 2 years.
Have you ever faced any sort of discrimination or stereotypes in the Army?
So when I was in advanced and divisional training in the Army, there was this girl who happened to be my roommate. When we were cleaning, I was talking to my friend while I was cleaning, so I wasn't really paying attention that much. And so she goes up to me and she's like, I thought since you were Mexican that you can clean and that you'd be doing it faster. And she knew I wasn't Mexican. And she did it purposely, and when she was called out on it by not just me but some other girls around her, she told me I should not be mad, and I could not be mad because she was just playing, and that she didn't mean nothing by it, but the way she treated me versus other people meant she did mean something by it.
How did you react to this event?
Honestly, I was just stunned. I didn't think someone would say something like that, something so ignorant. And it was very disrespectful in the end when she told me that I shouldn't be offended because she was just joking. That's not a joke.
Gaslighting?
Yes, she tried to tell me how I should feel about it when she's never, been in my shoes. She's never known what it's like to be me, to be Latina. She wasn't. And I feel like even though it was her attempt at being funny, it just came out ignorant.
Did anyone stand up for you?
In the moment, I think everyone was shocked as well. But a few days later, I would say, they just saw her doing the most ignorant things, and they brought it to her attention of how you shouldn't say that to someone. You shouldn't treat someone like that, even if you think it's a joke, because it's honestly just condescending. It's condescending when you think your actions don't affect other people. And yes, there was a group of girls who went to her, told her that she shouldn't say this, she shouldn't treat people like that, and she should be more aware of her actions and the way they affect people.
Have you heard the story of Vanessa Guillen?
Es Vanessa Guillen.
First class Vanessa Guillen vanished more than 2 months ago.
Was Vanessa Guillen in Fort Hood, Texas.
How do you feel about it?
Yes, I've heard about it when it had just happened. I feel that case really did bring light of what could happen, especially since there's a lot of people whose investigations regarding sexual assault has just been thrown away, or even if it was processed, the consequences of the certain individual involved, usually the most that I've seen that they do sometimes is they just switch a person's company and switch them a different place instead of kicking a person out just because based on the fact that they were a sergeant or based on the fact that they were a higher rank, and they just didn't want to kick them out even though the situation was messed up as it is. And I feel like that's why it's hard for a lot of people in the military to, come out and say, I was sexually assaulted. It's just a hard conversation to even have, let alone when nothing is done about it. And I feel that a lot of people were talking about it, and there was just so much ignorance, because a lot of, even from people in the military, a lot of them were like, she could have just reported it. A lot of people have just reported it. Nothing happened.
Hello, my name is Angel Maria. I live in Los Angeles, California, one of the busiest cities in America. I'd say I live an average life here. I go to school, then back home, and occasionally to other locations, like the store or a family member's house. Like most, I learned about climate change when I was in elementary school, where I learned about the melting ice caps or the effect it would have on the animals living there. And I later learned about the weather's increasing temperatures in middle school, though my interest in the topic didn't really pick up until I was in high school. At this time, I was becoming more aware of the world around me, to the point I felt like it was falling apart because of our ignorance. I, for one, was a part of that ignorance. I truly wasn't aware of the damage I was doing or how my actions could result in a poor environment, and I struggled to understand the concept of it. I knew how it was affecting us, but I didn't really understand how we were the ones causing it. In response to this, I began doing research to educate myself. I learned about what could cause it, like the smallest actions like wasting energy, specifically running water, keeping extra lights on, leaving a plug in, littering. I thought this was simple enough to keep track of, so I began a personal project to test myself. I wanted to see how much energy I could reduce in 1 week by writing down every time I used electricity in my house. By doing this, I realized I used a lot of electricity, way more than it should be. I was being inconsiderate, especially to my mom's bills. I kept on this method until I was in the habit of it. It was really hard at first, but during the first test of the project, I ended up skipping a couple days. I either forgot or I got too comfortable using electricity, but I kept persisting to my wants rather than what I needed to do. I wanted to leave the light on at night, I wanted to stand in the shower for an hour. I basically just wanted to waste electricity for my own benefit and satisfaction. It took constant reminders and sticky notes around the house to keep up the project. The original week-long project turned into a month because of my persistence to do over than what I should have been doing. Around that time, I also conveniently learned about what a carbon footprint was in class. I specifically learned what mine was. Similar to what I concluded from my failed project attempts, my carbon footprint was high. I wanted to decrease it even more, so I looked up what are the main things to increase your carbon footprint, or something like that. I realized I also needed to limit how much I traveled by vehicles, and if I did, I should use a bus or bike instead. Another thing I learned was including my diet. which actually shocked me the most. I never realized how much your food intake could have a role in this as well. You could rarely travel, rarely use electricity, but still have a high carbon footprint depending on how much dairy or meat you consume. It truthfully blew my mind. I never considered the possibility of our food playing a role in climate change. Then again, our ignorance got us here in the first place. I took these suggestions from the internet and applied them to my project. I tried consuming less dairy and meat, which is incredibly hard. Same with travel, though I don't really have a say in the transportation I used to arrive at school and back home. As a kid, I was more limited in that aspect, but this project helped me become more aware of the energy I use and my personal print on climate change. Although the actions may seem small, like reducing your energy and water usage, they can really help. Being mindful of what you consume, how you purchase these products, and how you get to the store definitely play a part as well. It takes more than just one person. If you can't find it in you to do it for the earth, for the other beings on this planet, then do it for yourself, for the food you eat, for the clothes you wear, and the job and home you obtain. Basically, if you're going to make a change for anyone, make that anyone you. A lot can be done, but in general, just be mindful about what you do. Climate change is here because of the waste we produce, your family and friends. Unless you do something about it, nothing will change.
Excellent job, Alexandra, Maria, Ashley, and Angel Maria. These were some very powerful films, and I'm very proud of the work that you did. And I was really excited. One of the most gratifying things as a teaching artist is to see the lessons that you shared with the students and the skills that you shared with them actually show up in their final projects. And so this was really gratifying to see these films. And I'm really excited to announce the winner for Best Storytelling. Drum roll, the winner is The Ever-Changing Perspective by Angel Maria Vasquez. Angel Maria described her interest at the beginning of class, and we didn't get to see her film until the very end, and she did an amazing job of incorporating her personal experience, personal journey as a way, as a vehicle to draw audiences into an issue they might not otherwise care about. And I think she did a great job of illustrating in her story ways that people can adjust their their carbon footprint without preaching to them. A lot of times people rely on just giving information and telling people what they should do. But I think by demonstrating through her own personal journey, that's the best way to model behavior. And it makes the story much more compelling and much more interesting. So I think she did a great job of taking a social issue and turning it into a compelling film. So congratulations. I think this is a much deserved win. Angel Maria, great job. And also, I just want to celebrate all the winners. It is not easy to make a film. It's even more difficult when you're doing it under the circumstances the students had to face this year. And I'm really proud of all of them for persevering and coming to class every day and showing up and showing their work and working on their edits to get to a final project that they'd be proud to show in a film festival. So congratulations to the students and the teachers who supported them and the family members who held cameras and helped them with their edits and looked at and reviewed their work. I'm really proud of the team effort. This is a community effort. And so it was really gratifying to be able to share their students' work with you all out there. And if you want to say some nice things to the students and congratulate them, please use the chat box if you're logged in. This is really exciting to be able to share this moment with all of you and keep storytelling. I have a few statements that I wanted to share. Being able to communicate your thoughts and share your vision with someone and craft a story, that's a superpower. And when you're able to talk about what's important to you and what's important to your community, that's a privilege. And finally, when you're able to use the platform of social media to amplify that message, that's an opportunity to really make a difference and really make a change in your community and in culture and in society overall. So take these skill sets that you've been working on, continue to build them, continue to refine them. Don't stop telling stories. It's a very powerful platform to really make change in the world. So congratulations to everyone. And I hope to see your next film.